You came back from the Combine in Indianapolis, a lot that went on there. One of the guys that has been linked to the Browns in some mock drafts, edge rusher George Karlaftis from Purdue, 6'4", 275, gets after it. And when you look at the scouting report on him, good power, relentless motor, keeps the heat on offensive counterparts throughout the game. Pretty much what you want to hear about a edge rusher. And then take a listen to his own scouting report on his game.
Relentless, right? That's how I approach life, how I approach the game, in terms of my technique, in terms of how I play, my motor, my effort, everything about it, relentless. I think I compare myself to his Khalil Mack. He has that speed to power, so I see a lot of similarity between our games. A little different body types, but I think same way we approach the game. I like to watch T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, Ryan Kerrigan. I mean, the list goes on, but yeah.
Yeah, and again, Scott, if he's one of those guys defensively, yeah, sign me up, even at 13.
Right. Yeah, he was interesting. I stood there for the whole interview, and he definitely has an edge to him. He talked about relentless. That comes across. Depending on what they do in free agency, the Browns need a long-term, at least I think, they need a long-term bookend for Myles Garrett. And we haven't seen that really since Myles was drafted in 2017. They've had Olivier Vernon for a couple of years, Emmanuel Ogbah right at the beginning of Myles' career, Jadeveon Clowney last year. I'd like to see him sign or draft a young guy and say, okay, for the next 5 years, this guy's going to be opposite Myles. I think that has the potential to be really exciting. And Karlaftis is part of that group that could be there at 13. I think he's intriguing, a little different style than Myles, right? Myles has a lot of bend. Karlaftis is more power, real strong legs and a strong base. I think he's pretty good against the run, which you need from that other end opposite Myles. So he's definitely in that discussion. And I think there's a possibility, I would think it's receiver at 13, but I certainly would not rule out edge rusher, especially if Clowney does not return.
Now, you also wrote an article why you think he could make a big splash, being Karlaftis in the end. Take us through what you wrote in that and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, he's got an interesting backstory. Like so many of these guys at the Combine, you sit there and you listen and you learn stuff about him. He was born in Athens, Greece. His dad was from Greece, came to the U.S. to go to college, met his mom at Purdue or West Lafayette, and then they moved to Greece. And George was born in Greece, stayed there till he was 13, and then his dad died, so his mom moved everybody back home to West Lafayette because that's where her support system was. Had never played football, picked it up quickly, and was physically ahead of everybody else. So, he became good right away. But where he learned a lot of that work ethic and the power in his legs, he was a goalie in water polo. And at 13, he was the goalie for the national under-16 team. And he talked about doing this drill where you tread water as a water polo player, and you had to hold a chair above your head, and your shoulders and chest had to be outside of the water. And you had to do it for 5 or 10 minutes. And that's how he built the power. And you can tell that, he didn't lose any of that training when he got here. And he's a gym rat, and he moved across the facility at Purdue so he could be in the facility day and night. I think he would impress coaches and GMs in the interviews.
Yeah, that does not sound like something I want to even attempt to do. Is tread water that sounds like a form of torture. But if you're telling me it makes you a national team water polo goalie, I'll buy it.